Hi everybody, I hope you're all doing really well. Back today to do the 8 questions for BookTubers tag. This was created originally by Robert G. Reader of Books, and it's basically, as the title suggests, 8 questions that are not to do with books, to give a little bit of an insight into said BookTubers' life and their various interests outside of reading. It's been really fun to watch other people's versions of this tag and just get to know more about them. There's freedom in this to be as in-depth or as brief as you would like to be. So without much further ado, let's just get straight on into these questions. Question number 1 is, what is your favourite kind of food? I've always had such a strong sweet tooth. It's something that, as I have been trying to make healthier choices, eat healthier food, I've been trying to wean myself off. I just like sugar a lot, and until the last few years I had such a huge capacity for sugar. But I'm trying to be more sensible, especially since I got my first filling a couple of years ago, and I don't really want to repeat that process again. So I've been trying to, slowly wean myself off. But I will say, my favourite kinds of foods, I will never deny myself the pleasure of a good slice of cake or a good ice cream, especially when the heat hits. Like, you think I'm going to deny myself a nice gelato? Absolutely not. And I do love baking, so baked goods are just a bit of a weakness of mine. But in terms of like what I generally eat, I eat a lot of stir fry. I eat a lot of meals where I can just like subtly pack a lot of vegetables in there. I've been trying to increase my plant consumption so I can do my 30 plants a week. So yeah, that's a lot of rice bowls, a lot of stir fry, lots of salads at lunchtime. Question number 2 is, what is your favourite kind of music? Now this is funny because over the last few days I've seen quite a few people doing the reader's favourite songs tag, which is basically a tag video where the booktuber in question will list their favourite songs, and it is up to the viewer to kind of comment on, analyse whether or not their music taste matches up at all with their reading taste, the kinds of books and the kinds of stories that they like to read. And I'm very intrigued by this video. I would quite like to do it, but I also feel like I'm very out of place jumping in and being like, hi, does anyone want to hear about my favourite musical theatre songs? Have you listened to Out There from Hunchback of Notre Dame recently? It's a banger. But I can't deny the truth of my heart. I listen to a lot of musical theatre because that's what I love. That's what I sing, that's what I listen to. If you know me, you'll know I am big into musical theatre. I'm in Musical Theatre Society myself. I am a classically trained soprano, so I listen to a lot of the kind of stuff that I tend to sing, and I like a mix of musical theatre. I do like more contemporary stuff, but kind of my bread and butter when it comes to musical theatre is the classic legit stuff like Rodgers and Hammerstein and Lerner and Lowe, which I think partially is because that is what I sing best, more so than the contemporary. But yeah, it's always really funny when we get to the end of the year and Spotify do their Wrapped for the year, and all my main genres are like Broadway, show tunes, musical theatre, West End. And everyone's like, do you listen to anything else? And I'm like, yeah, I swear that I do. It's just, the bulk of it is musical theatre. Question number 3, if you were prevented from reading ever again, what would you do? And I think I would just do more theatre, more music, but definitely free me up to do more days if I didn't read and I didn't do BookTube. But I'm hoping the day that I can't read anymore doesn't come. Question number 4 is your favourite city. I don't feel like I'm very equipped to answer this one because I haven't got a wide variety of different cities that I've been to. I went to York for university and I love York, and I've often said that if I could transplant my company that I work for, all of my friends, and move them over to York, then I'd do that in a heartbeat because it would mean that I'm that bit closer to my family, but without missing all of the people down here. But the truth is, when I do go back to York, I love York very much, but I don't feel the kind of buzz that I had at university, and I think part of that is because my people from there are no longer there and I don't have the connections there that I used to. I always wanted to live in London, and because I wanted to work in publishing, I had just kind of taken for granted that that's where I was going to end up being. I love London a lot because there's so much that you can do, but also I'm very aware of how expensive it is to live there. I live in Oxford, which is also one of the most expensive cities in the UK. And also, having now lived in Oxford for 4 years, I don't think I could hack it in London. I think I would get very stressed out there very quickly, whereas Oxford, I often say, feels like a bigger York. It has all of the same connections that you would expect from a city while not being overwhelming. Honestly, the only downside to living in Oxford is that it is expensive, but I love that I'm just over an hour away from London. I love that there is lots of culture here. I love that I get to perform in my Musical Theatre Society at the 2 big theatres in Oxford, and they have loads of touring productions that come through. But in terms of places outside of the UK, I honestly don't know. I feel like I need to travel a little bit more to work out where my favourite cities are. Question number 5 is your favourite beverage that is alcoholic. Unfortunately, I'm gonna be really boring for this one because I actually don't drink alcohol. Not for any particular moral reasons or anything like that. I personally have never liked the taste of alcohol. I don't like the idea of getting drunk. When I was at university, I felt very pressured to drink because this was back in 2013 and the drinking culture is very different to how it is now. And you would just get so many questions if you weren't drinking. And just being pestered to to be honest, that I would just default to having a bottle of cider in my hand because it was the only alcoholic thing that I could drink that didn't make me absolutely gag. And I would just have my one bottle, I would drink that to be polite and to just kind of get people off my back. But partway through my second year of uni, I realised I'm not actually enjoying this. And if I'm not enjoying it, like, why am I paying for it? Why am I even doing it when I'm quite happy with a glass of water or a J2O or something like that? And so yeah, I just made the decision that I'm just going to commit to not drinking alcohol because I don't like it, so why am I doing it? The only exception being, like, if you were to cook with a little bit of wine to like bring out the flavour in a sauce, then I don't really mind that. My mum will sometimes put a little bit of white wine in with the chicken that she's cooking, or at Christmas, for example, we put a bit of white wine in with the turkey basting mixture. That's absolutely fine, I don't mind that at all. But in terms of actually drinking alcohol, I don't do that. Then question number 6 is your favourite non-alcoholic beverage? In which case I have, I guess, a few more answers for that. I'm a singer, so I drink a lot of water, and if I were to just drink water all the time, I don't think I would miss very much, with the one exception being I drink a lot of English breakfast tea throughout the day, to the extent that I do get staining on one of my bottom teeth. Side note, very much looking forward to going to my hygienist this week because they can scrub that off and make my teeth all shiny and bright. But yeah, water and tea is what I tend to drink most of the day. If I go out to a pub or to a restaurant with friends, then I might get a ginger beer, non-alcoholic, or a J2O orange. Though that's been increasingly more since I moved down to Oxford, and I think part of that has just been like people seeing that I'm drinking something other than water, whereas previously, like at uni, I didn't mind just getting a glass of water. So I do feel like I want to kind of pull back on the soft drinks. And then aside from that, I really like a white hot chocolate as a treat every now and then, but that's not something that I have all the time. Question number 7 is your favourite time of day, and I think for me it is either first thing in the morning or it is last thing at night. I think in terms of how my body is naturally set up, I don't necessarily think that I'm a night owl, but I think because I am more introverted, I do really relish the times where nobody is awake aside from me, and that even necessitates me getting up early or me going to bed really late. And I feel like more often than not I will tend to go to bed really late. I am somebody who, if I come in from a social interaction, it takes me at least an hour and sometimes 2 for me to really wind down, which is not great if you are wanting to wake up early. But yeah, if I'm left to my own devices, I am much more likely to go to bed around about 12 or 1 o'clock and then wake up between 8 or 9, but that does not kind of jive with my actual work schedule. On weekdays I am waking up usually 6 or 7 o'clock, so I do definitely need to fix my wind down routine so that I am prioritising sleep. I would eventually in my life like to get myself to a point where I am more of an early to bed, early to rise kind of person, but I do naturally gravitate to staying up a bit later. And then finally, question number 8 is your favourite season. For me, it is definitely autumn. Basically from September up until Christmas is my favourite time of the year. I love seeing the changing leaves, I love starting to wrap up warm but where it is not absolutely perishingly cold. I love seeing all the buildings, all the shops decorated for Christmas. It just makes me very, very happy. I also do like spring as well, but for me, with the caveat that I do get hay fever, so later on in spring, beginning of summer is kind of a hellish time for me. But I do like being able to get out of jumpers and wearing dresses again and not having to bundle up quite as much. And also my birthday is the first day of spring, 21st of March, so you know, I do enjoy my birthday as well. So there we go, those are my answers to the 8 questions for BookTubers tag. Do let me know any of your answers to these questions. I would love to hear from you. I hope you're having a fantastic day, and I look forward to talking to you again soon. Thanks. Bye.